With all of those weeks of months of preparation and the flyaway kits and the maintenance and the proving flights and the exhaustive preparations, we get the aircraft started, taxi down to the runway, all our checks are good. We take the runway, pour on the power, we're accelerating down the runway, everything looks normal. The speed call-outs are normal, we're rotation, gear up, and the right gear wouldn't come up. This is probably just an indication issue.
I am landing gear.
Am I going to embark upon 50 hours of flying North Atlantic segments with an indication issue? There's no way, absolutely no way that we're going to continue. We're going to have to go back. We're just climbing out of Aurora here with probably 45 or 50 hours of flying ahead of us, right? And we're 3 minutes into the trip and we've got a maintenance issue.
I don't think this was an indication of Spirit's reluctance to leave Aurora. I mean, she had been kind of operated on extensively for so long. It would be like a patient getting ready to leave the hospital. She was definitely ready to go.
And the indication issues are that the right main gear has not retracted properly for whatever reason.
The problem was that when you retract the gear takes quite a long time. So you unlatch the safety latch, you pull the gear handle up, and then you wait and wait and wait for the gear unsafe light to go out and for the pressure to drop to zero. And sometimes you think that it's gotten to zero, but then it has another little bump in it. And all this has to do with pressurizing the gear system with sufficient pressure to keep the gear up and in the wells. And if you should return the gear handle to neutral before it gets all the way up, you'll have a gear unsafe light that doesn't go out. So in this case, there really wasn't anything that was unsafe. It was really more me returning the handle to neutral in anticipation that it should have been up by now, and indeed it wasn't.
We can't really see the gear, right? So we know it's come up partially retracted, but there is an indication on the flight deck when the gear is properly retracted, basically a light, an in-transit light goes out.
DC-3 short, final low approach only, runway 35 Aurora.
So we circled around the field. I was able to contact our maintenance team that was on the ground. Then we flew over the ramp with 2 or 3 of our technicians out there looking, and they confirmed that the right gear doors looked to be only partially retracted. So now we know we've got an issue.
All right, we're going back.
We're thinking, okay, well, we're not going to screw with the gear here. Let's make sure we can get the gear down. Obviously, we don't want this to become a really major issue, so climb back up to pattern altitude and cycle the gear to the down position. And the gear comes down normally. We get a green light, we look out the window, we can see 2 wheels. So we go on, make a normal landing, roll out, and bring the aircraft back to the ramp. All of that's taken about probably 45 minutes. It was quite a heavy landing. We were fueled and equipped for a long leg, and we were definitely at or close to gross weight. Airplane handled perfectly normally. Immediately went into further troubleshooting. What could we see? There was no visible damage, no smoking gun from a troubleshooting perspective. No idea what has caused this issue from visual inspection. So rather than put the aircraft back into the hangar, we bring a pair of jacks out to the aircraft, immediately jack the aircraft up and swing the gear. Of course, the gear retracts normally. So we cycle the gear 3 or 4 times, cannot reproduce this issue. No idea what caused it. So I decide, well, let's just go ahead and re-lubricate everything in the gear system. The latch, the gear doors. Spirit of Douglas is a slightly modified airplane, so it has the standard DC-3 landing gear and the standard retract system, but it has the doors, which are non-standard. Lubricate everything, cycle it a couple more times, can't get it to throw this issue again. So we put her back down on her wheels, top off the fuel tanks again, and taxi out for another takeoff.
Douglas 36 Charlie, roger, runway 35, taxi to Alpha.
Okay, taxi.
Delta 35036 Charlie, roger.
Takeoff again is normal, and this time the gear retraction is normal.
And MEDO power. MEDO power.
We had already briefed the fact that if our retraction was normal, we were just going to head east, get the show on the road. We were trying not to get into the high country, the very high terrain to the west of Denver at night. So yeah, we wanted to get on the road as quickly as we possibly could.
And it was actually quite nice. The weather was really good on the first part of the trip. There were some strong winds coming over the northern Rockies, so we climbed to 14,500 feet, which is an altitude that's just below the threshold for where the pilots have to use oxygen.
There was a little bit of left of track, right of track, trying to avoid, the cumulus buildup, the turbulence, and ultimately thunderstorms.
All along that way, we paralleled both the mountains and the thunderstorms, so the view is really quite nice.
The delay was significant, yes, but not critical, because we were leaving early enough in the day from the West Coast in the hope that we could be on the ground in Denver before a lot of the convective activity. That was probably more of an issue in our delayed departure than the night was.
Weather really didn't get bad in Denver until well after we landed anyway, so with respect to the actual conduct of the flight, the delay taking off really didn't have any negative effect.
36 Charlie, traffic 12 o'clock in 4 miles. During the down ahead of you at 6,600 indicated is a Cessna.
Delta C336 Charlie, Metro Ground, taxi Alfa Romeo 2.
It was a beautiful evening actually out there, clear skies with thunderstorms in the mountains to the west. But the sunset, it was a beautiful evening in Rocky Mountain.
And that's a special location for me because that's the airport where I have flown out of for the last 20 years. It's very close to my home, and I had a lot of friends and relatives who were very eager to see the airplane. This is an experience that's been among the most impactful in my life, and I wanted to be able to share it with people I cared about. And it's truly a wonderful thing to do, and it was very well received by everybody involved.
Aviators, it's a beautiful day to fly here in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. A few clouds above, a raindrop or two on the windshield, but if you're heading east, well, smooth skies ahead. Now, Denver's not just a stop on the map. Back in the golden age of air travel, United Airlines made it a DC-3 hub. Flying a DC-3 at this altitude takes skill. Pilots came here to train for high-altitude landings, and those engines sure felt it. So if you're flying today, you're not just taking off, you're stepping into history.
The following morning, we were meant to leave Rocky Mountain with the overnight destination being Rockford, Illinois.
We delayed our departure until about 11 o'clock so that friends and family could come and see the airplane.
The FBO in Rocky Mountain had been able to put us in a hangar overnight, which is always peace of mind. So we got the aircraft out of the hangar. Preparations were normal. We took a bunch of fuel on again and then loaded everybody aboard. Very high density altitude in Rocky Mountain. So the crew briefed the takeoff. It was going to be a long ground roll, plenty of runway. But the bigger issue is we're high density altitude with temperature and moisture means that we've got a long takeoff roll, but we've also got likely very poor single engine performance should we experience any kind of engine issue on or shortly after takeoff. So looking at the terrain, solidly briefing what our reaction is going to be in the event of a loss of power on one engine. Is it a left turn? Is it a right turn? Stay away from the high country. Which runway are we coming back to? What are the wind conditions, etc., etc. So a lot of pre-flight planning and briefing goes on with a takeoff like that.
Power set.
In the end, the takeoff was perfectly normal. Climb out was normal. And we were aware that the route to the Chicago area was going to be, probably fraught with a little bit of convective activity again. We're climbing up to cruise altitude. I think initially we were looking at about 9,500 VFR and starting to pick our way through some of the early buildups.
Okay, enter below 7,000 eastbound, turns approved, Roger, 836 Charlie.
Below the ceilings, it was good visibility. It was going to be a good flight.
So during the flight, everything was proceeding normally.
During any flight, you get into the habit of just scanning indications. Engine indications, generator indications. The first thing I noticed was the hydraulic system pressure was indicating 0, which is very unusual and very undesirable.